Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of the videos on circuit diagrams. In this video I'm going to do some sample questions. There's 4 of them on drawing circuits. So here's the first one. It says draw a circuit with a 3-cell battery, 2 light bulbs, a resistor, and a switch all in series. All right, so to draw this, the first thing to recognize is what the word series means. That means that everything is all in one single loop or one single pathway. So I'm going to start with the 3-cell battery. That's 1 cell. That's 2 cells. And that's 3 cells. So there's a 3-cell battery. Then I'm going to have 2 light bulbs. So I'm going to have to also draw conductors. I'm assuming there's wires connecting everything. So this is just a conductor, and now I'll draw my first light bulb. That's a loop with a circle. So there's 1 light bulb. And I'll keep going. I'll draw a second light bulb right here. All right, there's 2 light bulbs. Next is a resistor. So a resistor is a zigzag. So I'm going to come this way now and do a zigzag. So there's a resistor. And finally a switch. I'm going to, just because I'm right-handed, I'm going to start back at the battery and draw this way. And the switch looks like that. Okay, 2 dots and a bar. My bar is a little bit too long, just erase it there. Okay, and now I'm going to connect everything together with a conductor. Okay, you don't want to leave any gaps or the circuit won't work. And there's the answer to this question. All right, 3-cell battery, 2 light bulbs, a resistor, and a switch. And it's all in series. Okay, it's all in series. It's all in, there's only 1 pathway. Next question. Draw a circuit with a single cell powering 2 light bulbs in parallel with a switch. A, controlling only one of the bulbs, and B, controlling both bulbs. So actually there's 2 questions in one here. I'm going to do part A on the left. Okay, so it says I need a single cell. That's a single cell powering 2 light bulbs. 2 light bulbs, and they have to be in parallel. So that means I'm going to need a separate pathway for each light bulb. So this is how I'll do it. Watch carefully. There's 1 light bulb in 1 pathway. And now I'm going to add a second pathway. So right here is going to be a junction point. I'm going to create a second pathway now and draw my second light bulb there. And connect that back to the battery as well. So that's 2 light bulbs in parallel. Now, how about this switch? Okay, I also need a switch. And in part A, the switch has to control only one of the light bulbs. So it doesn't matter which light bulb. I'm just going to say it controls the second light bulb. So I'm going to take my eraser. I'm going to erase a bit of that circuit. And then I'm going to add a switch in. Just like that. And that satisfies question A. Now, this switch controls the second light bulb only. It does not affect the first light bulb. The first light bulb has its own pathway. There's all these other places I could have drew that switch actually. So I could have put the switch on the other side of the light bulb instead. Okay, I could have put the switch there, and I can open and close the circuit there, and that still only affects the second light bulb. It doesn't affect the first light bulb at all. So there's a little bit of flexibility in where you draw things. All right, part B. Part B, I'm going to draw the same circuit, but the switch is going to control both bulbs at the same time. Okay, so the only difference is where I'm going to put the switch. So everything else is the same, a single cell, 2 light bulbs in parallel, okay, now I need to pick a place to put a switch where opening and closing that switch will impact both bulbs at the same time. And that's going to be somewhere along the pathway near where the battery is. So even right here, if I put my switch right here, then opening and closing the circuit at that spot will actually affect both light bulbs, because no matter which pathway the electrons go through, there's no way it can get back to the battery if the switch is opened. All right, example 3. Draw a circuit with 2 cells in parallel, powering a light bulb and a resistor in series. So you got to be careful with reading this one. So first of all, I need 2 cells in parallel. I need 2 cells in parallel. So the cells are going to be on different pathways. However, they're going to be powering a light bulb and a resistor in series. So the light bulb and resistor are on the same pathway, but the 2 cells are on different pathways. So let me show you how that looks. First of all, here's one cell, and I'm going to draw the second cell over here, and they're going to be on 2 different pathways. Just like that. Okay, 2 cells in parallel. Now, I'm going to have to draw the light bulb and resistor in series. So here's a light bulb, and then here's a resistor. That's kind of poorly drawn, but good enough. It's a zigzag for a resistor. And those 2 have been drawn in series. Those 2 are on the same pathway. So that satisfies that question. And the last question is an example of going backwards. So sometimes you're given a circuit and you have to describe it in words. So I have a circuit shown here. I have to kind of describe that. So I'm going to start with a power source. The power source is right here. And that looks, I'm going to count how many cells there are, and I count 2 cells there. So I'm going to say this circuit has a 2-cell battery. And then I'm going to look at what it's powering. So what I see is I see a light bulb here. Oops. I'll use my highlighter, please. See a light bulb here and a light bulb here. And I see that they're on their own pathways. So they're going to be in parallel. I also see that they each have a switch. Each pathway has a switch. So I'm going to put that all together in a sentence, starting where I left off. So this circuit has a 2-cell battery powering two light bulbs In parallel, actually I'll start a second sentence to talk about the switches. I'll say each light bulb has its own switch controlling it. And that's how I would describe that circuit. Certainly the wording could be different to get the same idea across. I always encourage you to put things in your own words. Now, in terms of homework, there's actually going to be a third video in this lesson to show you how to access the online textbook. Okay, so I want you to access Science Connections 9 textbook. The publisher is Nelson. And then once you open that textbook, find section 13.1, scroll to page 503, and do questions 1 to 5. If you could do those questions and then upload your work into the hand-in folder on Google Classroom, that would be great. And if you're having trouble, you don't know how to access the online textbook, I'm going to have another video to show you how to access that online textbook. All right, thanks for listening, and good luck.